Hey, it's been a while. You remember that weird group I used to be in a few months ago and left because of the toxicity overload? Yeah, I've calmed down a little bit about its existence, but that still doesn't mean I'm going to rejoin. And you're probably asking, I thought this guy was done with that group. Why is he talking about it again? Well, it's because one of the other members, and an important one at that, finally left, and that caused a pretty massive hit on the infamous Cursed Gang, or CG for short. It's like someone else's lungs called it quits and they stopped breathing, suffocating the body of CG. It hasn't disbanded yet, thankfully, but the situation also hasn't improved. As far as I can tell, they've dug an even deeper hole no one could get out of. However, unlike the time I was the one leaving, there is a chance for GD Black Red to come back. So let's evaluate where it all started going wrong, all the way back to when I left. Now, you may notice how all of the problems I will mention directly involve Mr. Blackham, the leader of the group. I'm not gonna tell you nor imply that I want a hate train started against Mr. Blackham, especially since he's still a child with poor management skills, and fighting fire with fire won't do him or you any better. But I will still highlight the action he's done that caused the members to want to leave the group more and more, and I will do my best to discuss this at an objective standpoint and save the opinions for later. Oh, and a bit of a fair warning, you will be seeing uncensored screenshots in this video, so there may be swears and curses galore. Not very family friendly if you ask me, and no, you won't be seeing me saying those things. Let's begin at the so-called May 9th incident. I left CG for reasons I stated in my video titled Why I Left Cursed Gang. Almost immediately after it was announced that I left, one of the members, whom you may know as Les Payne Socho or Les Payne, created a group with all of the other CG members excluding Mr. Blackham. This was originally a place where members were able to rant about Mr. Blackham's strange actions and decisions. I can only show selected screenshots from the group as requested by BlackRed, so this video will not contain all the discussions, venting, or disagreements from the chat. The comments in CG videos that followed directly after my leave were mostly composed of people that wanted me to return. As harmless as it may first seem, however, some people were gonna take this to such an extent that I had to address the issue in another video called Stop. I had my name blacklisted in the original CG server, one which is now erased from existence due to the insane amount of toxicity and discomforting conversations there were, and replaced by a server much better moderated by my friend Julius, the administrator that was unfairly demoted by Mr. Blackham the last time I mentioned him in the video. The toxic individuals have pretty much been eradicated from the new server, which is good news, but they weren't the only troublemakers. The leader himself, Mr. Blackham, also had a pretty big role in causing distress amongst the members. He asked random people to stream something, especially when the selected person did not want to do so, or was busy doing something else. He would intrude in VCs, such as when me and Julius were playing some Hypixel Skyblock, and then make what seemed to be furry moaning sounds. Les Payne in particular was very annoyed by this intrusive behavior of his. He would ask the members to advertise any collabs we made, particularly the Plang, and he strived to become more and more known, rather than help make the community more and more inclusive. The original purpose of CG was almost completely stamped out, and from there, even more problems arose. At this point, I decided that there would be a zero chance of me rejoining. I then leaked some of the conversations to Mr. Blackham to make him aware that he'd have to be setting an example so dang bad that even the members from his own group made an alternative group chat in spite of him. And from there, a massive argument arose between him and the other members. Mr. Blackham kept telling me that he quote-unquote changed, but I was incredibly skeptical and was wondering what he was going to do next that was going to further collapse the group. Let me explain another reason why, even after Mr. Blackham claims he changed, I stood my ground on not rejoining. That's an assertive yet vague claim. People who have changed do not simply say to another that they've changed. They show it and they prove it. The more you say that to my face like a water cannon blasting water, the less I am convinced that you've actually changed for the better. It's not gonna work no matter how many times you say it without even a single bit of proof. Now back to the discussion. Soon after I stated that there was a zero chance of me rejoining, Me 8 was invited to join CG. It was an out of nowhere decision, and Mr. Blackham did not consider properly discussing this with the other members, which of course caught them by surprise, leading to even more controversy. Me 8 does not take virtually anything seriously other than his collabs, as evident in the screenshots provided. As time passed by, the situation was getting more and more chaotic. On the surface, it seemed as if the drama had died down, but there were a lot of hidden problems compiling as time passed by. The more I looked at it, the more it seemed as if CG was less of a collaborative and fun group, and more of a loose selection of individuals held together by a child with an aspiration to become popular. And that's where it leads us to the present, the moment where GD Blackred has left the group. When Mr. Blackham heard of this, he got mad, thinking that we all wanted to quit because of a few jokes, and tried to hide his account by renaming it to Deleted User and applying a default Discord profile picture, which, as we all know, does not work 99% of the time, because it's very easy to spot a false deleted account from an actual deleted account. Pretty standard childish reaction, if you ask me. Some people may blame the entire situation solely on Mr. Blackham due to his management and leadership inabilities. Other people may say it's the underage community's fault for influencing Mr. Blackham to be how he is. But in my perspective, what I see is someone misguided who is not well equipped to deal with the responsibilities presented to him as the leader of a group. I can't say for sure if he really is new to this kind of thing, but from what I can see, all he needed was a little guidance and consideration. Maybe it was partially my fault as well as the other members' faults for not warning him of the consequences of his actions, and instead clowned on him rather than give him constructive criticism. Maybe CG would have still been a better place then. In that group chat excluding Mr. Blackham, sure, there were quite a lot of rants about him in there, but very few of those problems were told directly to him. That could have contributed to what seems to be Mr. Blackham's ignorance to addressing the situation, but I can't say for sure. By the way, Mr. Blackham, if you're watching this, people can get offended by jokes. You should think twice before hitting that send button or unmuting yourself uninvited to a VC and moaning for no particular reason. Who are you telling the joke to? Do they have the same sense of humor as you do? Are they intelligent enough to understand the joke? And is the joke harmless in context? Sure, it's just a joke. But consider first the appropriateness and the possible consequences of telling that joke to prevent any rotten Discord tomatoes from being thrown your way. And it's not just because of your jokes either. Manage your group a little better. Don't repetitively exclaim that you've changed. Prove it to them. Prove that you actually care about the well-being of the group and not just yourself. Because from what I can observe, you are literally willing to abandon the group entirely, albeit your only methods of fixing the group being words of assertion, and pleading and begging and keeping silent. Very rarely have I seen you stop doing something the moment another felt offended by it. At least understand your members and why they took offense to what you did, and learn to follow your own rules. You're not exempted from the regulations and restrictions just because you're the leader, you know? It may be a lot to ask, and I know I have no right to control what you should be doing, nor do I have any say in what should be expected of you from the other CG members, but maybe take this into consideration next time. Do note, I'm not trying to bring you down because of what you did or anything. I'm not trying to vilify you for all the bad decisions you've made or the actions you did. I'm just making you, as well as other people, aware and giving advice. There is always room for improvement. So please take all that I have said with an open ear. I did not make this video to offend you, although that's what it may seem as. There is an old saying, all men have a lust no charm can tame to publicize his neighbor's shame. But if we ever are going to criticize someone for the things they did wrong, Give them advice and help them improve no matter how ignorant they may seem. Don't instantly start to insult them. Understand first the situation. Don't follow into the same path I used to think was the correct way of handling things, which was to rant and complain withheld from the knowledge of the one being complained about. Don't be afraid to tell them either. Be open and honest. Use the criticism to improve rather than to resort to ad hominem. Maybe that's the ultimate takeaway lesson from this drama. Could be wrong though, maybe it's all just a big fuss over a few small things. But hey, at least you were made aware. Take it easy everyone. That's it. Goodbye.